Hi, I'm Idil. I am an art director and photographer working in editorial and entertainment.
So, I mean, if you can kind of expand on that a bit and talk about some of the sort of recent projects you've been working on.
Yeah, so I have a big exhibition coming up in February 2015, and so I've been working on doing a lot more portraiture and comedy for it. So I've been working on doing portraiture backstage of comedians doing their shows. At the Edinburgh Festival, where I've been working for about 10 years, I shot over 100 comedians this year, over a week in August, photographing them just before their show, just after their show, in backstage areas or outside venues and things like that. And because it was on location and outdoors in the horrific rain, Edinburgh rain and Scottish cobbles, and trying to squeeze enormous lights into like tiny backstage areas and hallways, I started bringing the Wacom Companion round with me instead of my enormous 17-inch laptop, which is now defunct, right? They don't make those anymore because they're so bulky and enormous. Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff I've been working on recently.
And would you say there's a particular style to your photography, or is there a particular kind of concept you can say that defines, right, this is Idil's photography?
So I do a lot of, there are two things that I like to do. The first thing is that I try and art direct as much as possible. So there's, instead of turning up and shooting, I try and plan as much as possible. But obviously that's only really possible in studio work rather than running around smelly backstage areas. But I try and focus a lot on creating a kind of narrative behind the photograph, which ends up becoming a very filmic style. So it's very tricky to take pictures of comedians because they are doing something that is exciting live, it's exciting in the moment. The delivery is as important as the material. Obviously there's scripted comedy and TV comedy and such, but so you have to kind of transpose what's interesting about them live super into a completely different medium, which is a two-dimensional static image, which is entirely different to what a comedian does, which is a three-dimensional moving around live in front of you. So it's so tricky. So it's become a kind of much more a filmic style, a more kind of where it's kind of very emotional and very emotive is what I try and do a lot. And I think that a lot of people have said to me that they can pick out an Idil photo out of other comedian photos, which is very exciting.
So how did you find using the companion kind of on the move and the ability to kind of draw on the screen?
So the matte screen is really nice, so it was really good to be able to use it in a variety of different weather conditions and inside and out. When you're doing sort of many shots a day in different sort of outside locations, indoor locations, running around, the sun changes. It rains, it always rains in Edinburgh, so it was nice to have a matte screen.
In terms of the ability to actually draw on the screen compared to your usual process where you're used to working, with the tablet down here and the screen in front of you, did you find it, particularly easy to get into that way of working?
Yes, I think we're all so used to it now. I think we've been drawing on iPads and even iPhones for such a long time that I think any digital artist, even without realizing it, we're drawing on tablets all the time, even with just our fingers, that I think it's just such a nice, intimate way of working. And I think that's really great.